Well, tis the season, folks. Yes, it's so festive out there. People are running around decorating their homes, filling their baskets with gifts and jamming them into their trunk. I just love it. It's not really the time of year, however, you want to hear a report from the Auditor General. The government that was elected to take care of us for the next 4 years is off to a dismal start. I went over and over all the things I wanted to talk about as a result of the Auditor General's report, but it was, well, difficult to contain my emotions, as you might expect. So I'll tell you a story that leads to the real problem we have today with governments, at both the provincial and federal level, for that matter. Last weekend, Lisa and I were out, and she needed to make a stop at the dollar store, so she went into the store and I waited in the car. I noticed a young couple was sitting and leaning up against the building with a blanket over them trying to keep warm, and a cardboard sign beside them. If you can help with anything, we are cold, hungry, but we are trying to find a room. Merry Christmas. Man, when Lisa came out of the store and she got in the car, I pointed them out to her. And not like we haven't seen it before, but a couple not asking for money, but just asking for help. So we headed over to the local Tim Hortons across the plaza, grabbed a couple of sandwiches, 2 hot bowls of chicken noodle soup, 2 coffees and some rolls, and we took them over to them. We gave them to the young man, and he was so appreciative he couldn't say enough. And then I gave the young woman a $25 gift card for Timmy's for the next day or two for them to use. I'm not telling you this so you think we're wonderful people. I'm quite positive everyone would have done the same thing. In fact, a lady came out of the store as I went up to give them the food, and she said she was going to head over to Tim Hortons and do exactly the same thing. It's what everyone, I believe, would have done. We're not special. We appreciate what we have, and we wish everyone were as fortunate. But as most things like this, it got me thinking. And, of course, that's what I do. I did some research. I hammered out some of the numbers. I uncovered some of the facts, and this is where my blood really started to boil, and the Auditor's General report, well, it just simply added to it, and I needed to calm myself down. Do you know that with only the money that was wasted on the gas plant debacle in Mississauga and Oakville by our provincial government recently over the last couple of years, this young couple, along with every single other individual in their position in all of the region of Waterloo, would have been taken care of for the next 25 years. In essence, eradicating homelessness and poverty in the region of Waterloo from that one error that the Premier now stands up and says, I'm sorry. I understand that, ladies and gentlemen, but I really don't care what party is in power. I don't care what level of government it is. This carelessness and absolute reckless governing has to stop. It's got to stop. These same levels of government tell us we should demonstrate care and concern and give to organizations that try and lessen the anxiety for folks less fortunate than we are. And willingly, most of us do that, not because government tells us to, because genuinely you and I care. But how about government? Well, it's about time, government, that you do the same thing. Care. Stop the waste on stupid things. Stop the ridiculous decision making. Don't take any more of I'm sorry, folks, our taxes and spin them off into oblivion. Eliminate the wasteful habits government has become accustomed to and solve some problems. Don't always look to the taxpayer. We've given you enough, and we're doing our part locally. But politicians, I think I am joined by everyone when I say enough is absolutely enough. I know this sounds harsh and seems directed at the incumbent governments at the federal and the provincial level, as both have majority mandates. But whose fault is this? The waste at the provincial level over the last number of years is absolutely shameful. How could anyone look into the faces of this young couple that I met on the weekend and tell them the government is there for them? We, the electorate, are there for you. We'd be absolute hypocrites if we did that. And the federal level, because a few fast food restaurants abused the foreign temporary worker program, now local companies can't hire anyone because they put the stops to it. They can't take on new work because they don't have any skilled staff. What's government doing these days? I can tell you, folks, I live this every single day. Businesses can't find people to work in their places. You think there are tons of people who need jobs and the unemployment rate's up? Well, open a business and see if you can get people hired and how long it takes you to get the skilled people you need. I've spoken to 3 businesses in probably the last month or 2. They posted jobs, the applicants were granted interviews, and in some interviewees didn't even show up for the interview. And in one case, 6 people were hired and only 1 of them showed up for work on the start day. Can you imagine that? The other 5 just simply disappeared, fell off the face of the earth. Another advertised 3 months for light manufacturing positions, easy light work, good pay, not even 1 single applicant over 3 months. So what's going on? Some who might want to refute me on this, please don't. I know the truth. Governments are crippling our economy by not reacting quickly to the needs of business or to the people, or by wasting precious taxpayers' money. Imagine if there was no homelessness. Every single person had money to spend. That alone would enrich our local economy. Just that. I'm not sure what has happened, folks. Or if this has always been happening and we're maybe finally getting wise to it. I don't know. We do not need a whack of promises anymore. We do need a good dose of sensibility, credibility, and absolutely honorability. Politicians, might I take the liberty to remind you, you do not work for the federal government or the provincial government. You work for me and all of us out here. You work for that young couple who's struggling, and every other family who is potentially where they are because you wasted good money that could have changed their lives. Please, wake up to this. If you're a part of the governing party, don't lay back on this and say that DeRocher is just ranting. You know unconditionally what I'm saying is absolutely the truth. Stand up. Tell your government enough is enough. Tell them we can eliminate waste and solve the national poverty issue by taking that wasteful spending and helping to get more consumers into the market by helping them get there. I recall a few years ago hearing a poverty expert say there will always be homelessness. But folks, I think I've just proven one wasteful spending act by the provincial government, just one, would have proven him wrong for the whole entire region of Waterloo. Folks, let's give a gift of support to our elected officials this Christmas. We'll stand behind them if they'll stand up for us, our taxes, and our community. I'm Greg DeRocher.